Hey guys, what's going on? It's Filmington back with another video. In this one, we're going to talk about sealed wax and potential deals on the horizon.
Carl Quintanilla tweeted, Morgan Stanley has a 56-page report on inventory. Quote, we believe many will turn to aggressive discounting, which is likely to spark a race to the bottom as companies attempt to cut prices faster than peers and move out as much inventory as possible. You've been pounding the table on the best
Black
what's
Friday
that
deals
Black Friday. Okay, I was
in
gonna
a
say
long
Black Monday.
time.
Black Friday.
I'm saying get your shopping list ready. There's gonna be I feel like TVs and all this stuff you're just gonna be able to get it at. You could finally get rid of that line TV in your bedroom. It's that time.
So, a lot of people made the argument during the COVID boom when wax prices were going up 4x, 5x, 6x from whether it was retail SRP or from where they were before the pandemic. And a lot of people were saying, well, there's a lot of people just hoarding it in warehouses, storage units, and all it's going to take is for people to find out how much is really out there unopened to crash the prices, right? Like as soon as people figure out how overprinted this was and how much really exists, 10, 15 years from now, it's going to crash just like the junk wax from the 80s and 90s. Well, my argument to that would be if there's any force that's going to bring this sealed wax to market to crash the prices, it's rising prices. Same goes for single cards, right? Aaron Judge cards go up 3, 4x in price this year. Just making up numbers. It varies by card. But when that happens, the supply in the market increases. The supply and availability of cards for sale of Aaron Judge increases, right? And that puts downward pressure on prices. Now, it's a little bit different here as we're in Q4 finally of 2022, where there's a lot of people, yes, that were holding wax during 2020, 2021. Some people sold it and cashed in at a nice 3, 4x profit. Some people decided to hold it because they thought it was a good long-term investment and would be worth more in the future. But now we're dealing with people being strapped for cash. We're dealing with liquidity being sucked out of the economy, where now people really need the money, and they kind of see that the demand for dollars, well, the US dollar relative to other currencies has appreciated in value. And overall, holding the US dollar would have been a better alternative than having that money invested in alternative assets, even the stock market. And I'm not just saying this to say it, I'm saying it because I'm also noticing some interesting things on eBay with hobby boxes that I haven't seen go for auction in a while. And there's 3. One of these already ended, maybe 2 already ended. 3 2009 Bowman draft picks and prospects hobby boxes, the Mike Trout year. 3 within 2 weeks. 3 auction listings, not buy it nows. So clearly there's people that have a real intent to sell this stuff, and they're not ultra concerned with the execution price. With a lot of these less liquid products, people often try to sell them at bin because they don't know if there will be enough buyers. But now there's 3 of those products. And it's not just that. It's 2018 stuff, desirable stuff. I know Soto and Acuna had off years, but still stuff you don't see on the market often. You still have Ohtani in there. You still have a lot of long-term believers in Soto. Maybe there's some scared money in Acuna, but I'm seeing some products that you don't often see. There's 2 other things I've noticed as well. On another selling and buying platform, I'm noticing a lot of people selling. And these are people that are pretty well capitalized with hobby shops, brick and mortar. Maybe they've got an online store, website. I'm noticing a lot of activity there. And the third thing is Blowout on their website. Usually lasts 3 years. Their specials start in November, like the Black Friday type deals. You'll see them advertised as doorbusters. They've got a few different names for these types of deals. Sometimes the better deals are actually earlier in November than Black Friday or around Thanksgiving time. And there's been some good stuff. So they're about a month early on the deals. They had 2018 Topps Update blasters for $100, which $200 was a bargain on those, like probably about a year ago. And those lasted longer than I would have expected. And there's also 2017 stuff. You can clearly tell they have a ton of it, like the Judge Year stuff. Blowout has a ton of that stuff, and they're starting to list it at reasonable prices. And then back to 2018, I saw a doorbuster deal yesterday. They've got Gypsy Queen and Gold Label. I know these aren't the most desirable products, so that's probably why they're starting with these ones. But it kind of shows, these aren't, I don't think there's like limits either. Like sometimes there's like, oh, you can only buy like 6 boxes or a case per household. I don't know if there's limits on these. So it really makes you think. And then I think back at, it was a Jeremy Lee interview with DA Card World, Sports Cards Live. And I remember one of the main partners of DA Card World, who was being interviewed, saying that 2020 was the first time they started withholding certain modern product for an investment purpose. So then you start to think like, well, how many of these other retailers out there did it? So it's not just small guys like me or you that's holding back this product. There's a lot more of this stuff out there than what's even on the website, as I'm sure most of you guys know. What's available for sale is very different than what is the total amount that somebody holds. In the case of a Blowout in DA Card World, could be significantly different. So what I started noticing last year, it was the first time where, wow, these Black Friday deals look super good. Like I remember 2014 Topps Chrome Update Megas at $200. Like that's an awesome deal. Granted, DeGrom didn't quite have the season a lot of people expected. Betts probably won't be top 3 in the NL MVP. Some of that stuff is cratered to at or below the Black Friday special prices. Maybe not that product specifically. I'm sure it's around 200 right now, but some other stuff you didn't even see a bump from what looked to be like can't miss products. So, one of the negatives of buying older products is that it's less liquid. I've started to like break a little bit. I've got the explosion box and I sort of dictate what people get. I take suggestions. I listen to the market, but people are getting stuff that's older than 1 or 2 years, or 3 years old. But when you're trying to actually move this stuff and convince people to open it at prices that are up 5 to 6x from a few years ago, very different story. Trying to do something now on Loop, doing a little bit of breaking. By the way, that's Sunday, link in the description. The first time I've ever talked about it on here or even listed a link. Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. But I'm noticing that, there's certainly an illiquidity aspect of the, let's say, like 2017 and earlier stuff. I mean, Aaron Judge is kind of bucking the trend there. But even going back like a couple years, like people want the most recent stuff. It's exciting and interesting and relevant. And you've got all the names over the last few years with all the hype and the buzz. And even with the decline in grading costs that we're seeing across the board, and I think those will continue to go down, it's just usually not enough to convince someone to open the product. So basically what I'm saying is all signs point to even like desirable years of wax for baseball taking a dive a bit if this macro stuff keeps on happening. Unless there's some sort of like Fed pivot, which will happen. It's just a matter of when, right? I see some good deals. So guys, this isn't supposed to be a doom and gloom type video. This is supposed to be a opportunity video. In November, December, expect some really good deals on wax and not just 2022, 2021 stuff. I mean, that stuff will be on sale too, but I'm talking the desirable years, like good stuff like Luka year basketball, 2017 football. And again, if we saw it with 09 Trout stuff, then anything else in baseball is fair game that was printed over the last 25 years. All right, guys, that's it. Take advantage of those opportunities or use your money on other stuff if you're smart. I'm not smart. I'll be trying to buy low on some of these things, and maybe low won't be low enough. But like everything, you've got to come into it with a kind of a structured game plan of how much cash you have. You don't want to buy in excess of these wax products just because your credit cards allow you to. All right, guys, that's it. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Do you also see downward pressure on desirable wax of the last 10, 15 years? Let me know. Filming to know.